Hey, what's up everyone? Vasquez, this is Valoramous. In today's music producer tutorial, I want to provide an overview of the four-dimensional mixing space. So I'm going to be doing a couple of demonstrations. It may look a little funny, but hopefully this will provide you a better and clearer picture of what the four-dimensional mixing space looks like as a producer. So before I begin, as a producer, what you are trying to do when you are composing your songs and then mixing your songs is you are trying to fill out the entirety of that mixing space. Because if you're missing certain elements that need to be in certain places, the listener is going to notice because the track may sound tinny or thin, the track may sound muddy or like there's too much information in those particular frequencies. So it is very important that you picture all the frequencies in the song and picture those frequencies in your head, filling out that four-dimensional mixing space so you can properly mix your track. Now, mixing, in my opinion, is the most difficult stage to master because there's a lot going on. There's an infinite moves that you can make in terms of properly filling out the mixing space and mixing the elements properly. So this tutorial is going to provide you with the tools to properly envision where those elements need to reside. And then you can hopefully make better mixing decisions when you are moving into the mixing phase of completing your track. So the mixing space in general runs from 20 hertz in the low end, which is really just a low rumble, up to 20,000 hertz in the high end. And so if you think about all the frequencies or all the sounds that are in a track, they're all going to be residing in this 20 hertz on the low end to 20,000 hertz in the high end. On the low end, you're going to have kick and bass. In the mid frequency elements, you're going to have vocals and chords and other drum elements such as the snare drum and clap. And then in the upper frequencies, you're going to have percussive elements and also higher octaves of your melodies. So it is important that you think about all these elements of where they need to properly reside. So that is just one dimension, that is just going from top to bottom. Now, you also have left to right, and that is the stereo image. You have the stereo image, which means you can pan elements left and pan elements right. You can also use certain mixing plugins to spread elements wide, so it is sounding like it's coming from the left and the right. But you need to think about all of the elements that should be central, and then the other elements need to be panned left and right. So for example, pads would be an element that you want pan left or pan right, or stereo spread wide, so it's not cluttering up the mix in the center. Elements that should be in the center would be bass, kick, and also vocals. And then the third dimension, which is a little bit more advanced, but this is front to back. So now you are considering different effects such as reverb and delay. So if you think about a big auditorium, that's a three-dimensional mixing space, especially if you move certain elements, say for example you have an orchestra or a choir. If certain singers are placed further back or they're singing into a long hallway, it's going to sound differently. So using mixing effects such as delay and reverb, you can make those elements sound like they're further back in the mix. So if the vocal is front and center, maybe you have other elements such as percussive elements or other drum elements that have reverb applied to them, maybe on the snare drum. They're going to sound like they're taking a step back while the vocals shine. So that is the third dimension of the mixing space. And then the fourth dimension of the mixing space is time. So this is where you apply automation to change certain tracks in your overall mix as the track progresses. And this is most famously done during build-up sections where that automation will change over time and it'll run into the build-up and then go into the chorus, the drop, where that element, that track may move from the back of the mix to the front of the mix. It may be filtered and then it's unfiltered. It may be dull and then it becomes bright. So that is the fourth dimension, which is time. Okay, there you have it. That's my quick and broad overview of the four-dimensional mixing space. Hopefully that gives you a clear picture on how to imagine your various musical elements in a track and in the four-dimensional mixing space. If you think I'm forgetting something, please leave in the comments below. If you'd like this content, like to see more, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you.